impasse. I've heard people say impasse, impasse, but it's impasse. Now, I know the Americans say impasse, but as I often point out, say it right, is to help us speak better English, not better American. I leave that task to Madam Ajwa. Anyway, it's impasse. I-M-P-A-S-S-E. Impasse. A situation in which parties cannot agree on the way forward. It originates from the French word impasse, which means dead end. So now you can say it right. You could also keep it simple by using a synonym like deadlock, or standoff, or quandary, or dilemma, or cessation, or hiatus, or catch-22, or you, it's okay.
Impasse. You know, there's a school of thought that actually argues that when you borrow a word, you don't have to pronounce it in how it was pronounced in the original language. And that's what you've seen with the Americans. Yes, but of course, the original English idea is that when you borrow a word, it's pronounced the way it was pronounced in that language. And that's how you've seen stadium becoming stadia when it comes to its plural form, even though some people today would prefer to go with stadiums and argue that it has to be stadiums. But that's how the English language is. French, on the other hand, is one language where it's very difficult to even get new words into the French language, because the Académie Française must meet and agree even on new words that will be adopted into the French language.
Yeah, I think that's what liberalization has done to the English language. Everybody thinks they own it. They can do what they like with it. But the Queen's English is the language of the people of England. And I prefer to speak it the way it was created to be spoken, not the way Ajwa Safo speaks it. All right then. So it's time for us to get into the news review, brought to us today by Milo, Energy to Go Further, Enterprise Life's Family Income Security Plan, Enterprise Your Advantage, and First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different.
Well, so let's start with the business finder for today. And e-levy bill passed lawfully. That's according to Godfred Yabua Dami, who is the Attorney General of Ghana. So he's filed a statement of a case in response to an application filed by the minority leader in Parliament and his two colleagues challenging the constitutionality of the passage of the Electronic Transfer Levy Act into law. And in his 37-page response, the Attorney General sums up his argument, noting that at the material time of the passage of the e-levy in Parliament, the provisions of the 1992 Constitution in relation to quorum for decision-making was satisfied. The plaintiffs are not entitled to any relief endorsed on writ, and he cites 24 cases, to support his argument, and also makes reference to the Constitution Evidence Act and other things. But there's a point here. It says, respectfully, the court will note that upon a careful consideration of the facts of this case, that the plaintiffs do not make a claim that Act 1075 was made in excess of the powers conferred on Parliament or by any other authority or person by law under the Constitution. In effect, the plaintiff's suit does not invoke Article 130(1)(b) of the Constitution, and no argument is advanced by the plaintiffs to hint at a suggestion they mean to say Parliament enacted a law in excess of its powers. Also, on the front page, Invest list on stock markets, Baumia tells mining companies. And so the Vice President is challenging mining companies operating in Ghana and the entire West African sub-region to work with governments and regulatory bodies to establish a mining index on local stock exchanges to allow both the owners and investors in the minerals to profit or to benefit from its exploitation. And also on the front page, Dr. Awalord's Pan-African Heritage Museum's digital platform.
The big story on the Daily Guide, Boga MP loses fight. The paper reports that a second attempt by the restrained Member of Parliament for a sin-off, James Jachikwesin, to get rid of 3 out of the 5 charges preferred against him by the Attorney General has been dismissed by an Accra High Court. Still on the front page, lightning victim still in limbo, fetish priest performing rituals around the coffin of the victim there. Yesterday we spoke about it happening in the Volta region. 3 nabbed over sex video flogging. The incident that happened in the Upper West region. We understand some 2 elders have been arrested with some youth as well. The latest story is that as of last night, the youth besieged the police station demanding the release of their people. And we are still following that story keenly.
Well, we're told that 18 people have been arrested by the police.
Okay.
These, the youth that went in there demanding the release, and they're filming it live, engaging in all manner of things. The police arrested 18 of them. Yesterday we had this conversation during the SMS break.
Yeah.
You may have issues with what somebody does. Okay?
Yeah.
But the law, and that is why we have laws in this country that stipulate how you go about these things.
Yeah.
Okay? And so if two persons decide to do something you think it is bad, yes, circulation of that is against our laws. And the law has a way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
You don't go and tie them to a pole and whip them.
Mob justice. So
No.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, let's get it straight. These persons must appreciate the law. While you have your own set of morals, others have theirs. The law prescribes what is accepted in this country. And the law says circulation of that is not accepted. You could have arrested them and handed them over to the police.
That is if they are the ones who circulated
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
So if you know this person circulated it, or you think this is the man who circulated it, hand over that person to the police.
Yeah.
And let the police take it from there.
Okay.
Don't go and tie them to a pole and whip them. And who tells these young boys that they can take the law into their own hands, demanding the release of people who have been arrested by the police?
Trying to...
You see, this is a horrifying trend that started with those invisible forces storming a law court and freeing suspects.
Exactly.
After that, we've seen it happen even recently at where were the riots recently, where the young man was killed?
At Nkranza?
In Nkranza.
Yeah.
We saw that happening there as well. It's almost starting to become a norm, a feature of any sort of unrest that occurs. And it needs to stop immediately. It's completely against our democracy.
Yeah.
That is how anarchy creeps in. And honestly, you guys, you don't want to live in a world without rules. Trust me. You don't want to live in a world without rules. So it doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are, doesn't matter what your moral standards are. We live in a country of laws. Your moral standards are for you. The laws are for all of us.
Well, please bounce Kumonga Gandemo. We know that some conveners of Fix the Country, they were making some conditions to the extent that they want to hold their own weapons, get their own private security, and have access to a state broadcasting house as part of conditions for their demonstration. But the police said, no, we cannot allow that. These conditions are conditions that since yesterday I've been trying to wrap my head around it. I don't know which country such conditions, or the law permits civilians to go onto the streets, hold your own weapons, have access to private security, and then have access to state broadcasting house. I'm still, worried about such situations.
On State of Play today,
Wow.
we're discussing, it says, "Ye that the gods want to kill, first make mad." Hashtag fix the country. And that's what we're looking at this morning, this afternoon, 2:30, Facebook Live on State of Play.
Yeah.
Now, I have been monitoring comments. I've seen Kofi Bento. He says he's looked at the law and he thinks that going with arms is not the way to go. I've seen Manasseh Azuri Awene, make a post on Facebook that says, if Fix the Country is not careful, they'll be destroying themselves. And in the words of Manasseh, the government would be happy about it.
A couple of things to remember. First of all, I think Oliver Bakavomo was clear when he said that he is a self-appointed convener of Fix the Country. A movement that started for one purpose is turning into somebody's
A private business.
Yes. Now the other thing is this.
Yeah.
When he was first arrested, when he arrived from London and was arrested,
Yeah.
everybody who supported him sought to make the point that he's not a threat to the state.
Yeah.
But I think he wants to correct that. I think he wants people to consider him a threat to the state.
Yeah, he's abusing the support Ghanaians gave him at the time.
Well, I think
it's,
I have a lot to say on this at 2:30. That whatever they sought to do, whatever stunt they sought to pull,
Yeah.
it didn't work. But I'll tell you more, at 2:30, Facebook
At
Live
2:30.
on the state of play.
Kudos to Dampari and his team. I'm in support of this. They should not allow this to happen. We are in a democratic country where laws are to work, not a few people abusing the system. Ghana World Cup shirt pops up. The Ghana's home case for the 2022 World Cup and the upcoming 2023 African Cup of Nations qualifiers has been unveiled by Puma. So the shirt was unveiled on Tuesday, one day before Ghana's first qualifier match against Madagascar at the Cape Coast Stadium. Yesterday, won by 3-0, right?
3-0. I couldn't have, I was driving home.
Okay.
So I was listening to... I listened to Strong and Sassy, and after Strong and Sassy, I listened to, commentary on the second half, and probably got home and watched a bit of it. But I was happy that the young man, Felix Afena-Jan, got a goal. 19 years, he's just won the Europa Conference League, and so coming in there and getting a goal. And let me be very honest, bits and pieces of the second half that I watched, Jordan Ayew was great on the day. Jordan Ayew, fantastic player on the night. When he doesn't play well, we criticize him. When he plays well, we have to commend him. He was super fantastic. Kudus Mohammed, very great. But again, Kudus Mohammed holds on to the ball too much. He must learn to let it go. Let's get to the Daily Statesman. And new field commander to break the 8. That's Stephen Asamoah Boateng, 777. You know what that means?
What does that mean?
Stephen 7, Asamoah 7. Boateng 7.
But 7 doesn't break the 8.
777. He didn't say
7 doesn't break the 8.
So he's going to break the 8 with that. Asabi launching his campaign for national chairman position of the NPP. Please block June 4 armed demo is also on the front page. And Veep urges mining companies to invest and list on stock exchanges. I've talked about that already. And district mining committees inaugurated to curb illegal mining. So we're told that the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, that's George Mrekuduka, he's inaugurated 12 district mining committees in the Eastern region. And this is in line with government's objective of decentralizing the regulation and management of mining activities in the country. And he's observed that, since the assumption of office, the president has taken various steps to promote responsible mining and increase revenue from the sector. And he says the members are to act as dedicated and firm partners to the district officers of the Minerals Commission in their bid to regulate and control mining activities in their respective districts.
The Ghanaian Times is the last paper with me here. Justice Abdullahi versus Attorney General. Supreme Court ruling cardinal sin of judiciary. Bagbin observes, that's a big story there. VIB taxes BOG to increase gold reserve to protect country from currency fluctuation. Lawful parliamentary procedures can't be questioned. That's according to the AG. And since we'll be talking about food security today, when Dr. Abu Sakara joins us on the morning show, government is to partner Zoomlion for mass quality organic fertilizer production. We know very well that because of the situation in Ukraine, and according to the Agric Minister, COVID-19 has actually worsened our situation in terms of the supply or importation of fertilizer. So government is now looking at a more practical way by engaging local companies. So they have identified 18 of them where they'll be going into mass production of compost, so that will not rely on chemical fertilizer importation. And Zoomlion has been identified as one of them. So the minister yesterday toured the facility and he was taken around to see the production chain there. So Zoomlion is assuring of over 150,000 tons that we're producing every year from their plant. We know very well that the president, sometime about 2 years ago, cut salt in the Upper East region and other regions as well for the establishment of these compost plants across the country to augment the fertilizer supply in the country for farmers to be able to meet the food production demand in the country.
The thing is not the sword cutting or not the plan, it's the implementation. And one of the things we have done very well in this country is always talking about plans. Plans are in place. In years past, we talked about a plan in itself, the dream being an achievement, and so a government could list it as part of its achievements. But having said that, how many things have we not talked about in this country? We plan to do this. We plan to do that. It's like that. I mean, I always cite the man who weeds with his mouth. Medrafaha, medrafaha, medrafaha. You come and he's standing at the same place. That is what is becoming of us as a country. We talk about a lot of things. We have, great plans as a country. Unfortunately for us, the implementation of these plans always become the problem. Look, we talked about, Agenda 111 at the time when the president announced it. In 2020, he said he was going to start in 2020 and will be completed within a year of commencement. It did not start in 2020. It started in 2021, August thereabout. We're told it's going to be completed within 18 months. Today, we're still talking about site preparation. Today, we're talking about site preparation. In some of the districts, they even don't have lands. So you ask, what sort of planning, preparation went into the decision to have 111 hospitals constructed? I can list them. So I would prefer a situation where we come back and say, oh, we have done this. Okay, the usual talk is becoming too much. Anyway, the daily graphic for this morning, World Bank grant $1.2 million goes to deprived schools education minister. To the Minister of Education, he said that the $1.2 million World Bank grant for digital literacy will be channeled into resourcing deprived basic schools identified across the country. He said the money will be used for the provision of furniture and teaching and learning materials to enhance the learning environment. Government Lord Zoomline for organic fertilizer production. Store gold. Vice President tells African central banks. And Arab investors pledge £2.8 billion support for health sector. Now, the back page, Stars outshine Madagascar. The Black Stars beating Madagascar by 3-0.
All right, then. Let's do the online review. It's brought to us by Zenith Bank in your best interest. Goyle, Good Energy, and Eden Heights, Luxury, has a new destination.
Now, Goyle, your oil marketing company of choice, keeps making life so convenient for you. Goyle now accepts Momo for all fuel purchases at selected stations. Just remember to Momo it at Goyle. And that's not all. You can also use your bank card to buy fuel at Goyle. And this is made possible by APSA. Drive to Goyle stations now, buy your fuel, pay by Momo or a bank card, and you're good to go. Visit Goyle social media platforms. Facebook, that's Goyle.official. Instagram, Goyle_GH. And on Twitter is Goyle_official. For more information on the service stations, you can conveniently use Momo. Goyle, Good Energy, Goyle. Yeah, dear.
Do you know what? I've decided that I want to play an active role in getting people to enjoy the luxury that is Eden Heights. So you know what? If you're looking for a home to buy, you're on the market, you can DM me on social media, okay? Anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, DM me. Just let me know that you're interested. We'll set up a day and we'll go together and go and check out the wonderful property at Eden Heights. Okay, that's my promise to you. I just want everybody to have a chance to see this place because it's the future of luxury living. You can call the team on 050 153 1444, or you can try 1445 at the end, or just go to edenheights.com.gh and find out what awaits you. You can pay over up to 2 years with a flexible payment plan. Eden Heights Luxury has a new destination. All right then. So, interesting headline. Baumia is an outsider. Really? He must step aside. And that's Amwakumba making that claim. Interesting. An outsider to the NPP.
No, he's not. Someone who's been the NPP's running mate since 2008 as vice president. Oh, goodness. I mean, it was accepted by the NPP's National Executive Committee to become the party's running mate.
And let's not forget the role he played in their victory. How does he become an outsider? Hey. People say what they like. Dr. Baumiana, I always say he's the biggest victim of this government. But we'll talk about that another day. IGP's letter to UK High Commissioner displays immaturity. That's Oliver Bakavomo was saying that. But there's more online. Go check it out for yourself. Right now, though, it's time for the BBC News.
Brought to us by Fidelity Bank. Believe with us at Lom Housing, where quality and spacious homes cost less. And Millennium Insurance, your trustworthy partner.
This is a bank, First Atlantic Bank. A shiny purple star to brighten up my day. First Atlantic Bank. Professionally different services all day long. First Atlantic Bank. And it feels so cool. I know this is where I belong. Come on, everybody. This is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank. Follow me, let's go now. Let's go. Let's bank. This is a bank like no other. Let's bank. This is a bank like no other. Let's bank. This is a bank like no other. First Atlantic Bank.
First Atlantic Bank. Refreshingly different.
Jack, you know my boss owns a fleet of commercial cars and he drives only brand new vehicles. Latest. Before he hired me, this is what he said. Krachi, my vehicles are my investment. It is a winning, now winning, and you buy any fuel apart from Goil. Waboka, sign this undertaking.
But he was right?
Yes, and he's right. Goil stocks only higher grade fuels, further enriched with XP3, multifunctional enhancer, more efficient, eco-friendly, and at no extra cost. Available at every Goil station at Jibedia. Goil Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP, higher grade fuels, excellent for modern engines and all vehicles. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Goil is good energy.